I've got this broken iPhone that's 8, I think. I did a job here, a construction job, and that I bid when we got out here to Idaho, and made enough money I was able to go buy it brand new at Walmart and put 6 months worth of service on it. That's the reason why we had to come. September now, and it's up in November, so it would have been about 4 months ago, actually. I got this month and next month. Well, not sure on that one. Probably have to go back month to month for a little while because I haven't been able to land a job that's paid. I do contract work. I'm a licensed electrician out of Iowa, and I hadn't been doing that for a while. We'd been farming. I took over my grandparents' farm, and we got flooded about 1.5 years ago when the floods got really bad there in Iowa, and we kind of lost everything. And they were unable to process our last payment. Our insurance company said that we never made our last payment, even though we had made our payment, and that's kind of what drove us into being homeless here. It's been a rough patch ever since then because we had seed loans out and loans on equipment, new equipment, because it was my grandparents' farm. And I don't know if you know who the king that was in Congress that got kicked out. He had been trying to buy our family farm for a long time, and he kind of took this as an opportunity. It was his nephew that was my insurance guy through State Farm, and I didn't realize that it was his nephew anyway. He put the payment in his desk, our last payment before the flood, and he'd gone on vacation. Well, and then that weekend it started to rain really bad, and for about a week it ruined everything. Flooded the house, the farm, all our crops and everything. And in 1993, it was 18 feet up on the telephone pole. The watermark was, and about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, it was another 12 feet above that 18-foot mark. So it was a complete loss, and then State Farm wouldn't honor our policy, all because he had not pushed the payment through, and the money was there and everything, and so they told us they would put us in a hotel until they could get it sorted out, and then they would reimburse us when they got it figured out. But during that whole process, they said that they couldn't figure out where the payment went or anything like that, and that they had a cash offer from King for the farm and everything. So they were going to go that route about it to take over the loan we had out. And so we just kind of got pushed to the side and neglected, and our farm got sold out from underneath of us, the Kings, and we were left high and dry. I mean, I sent them pictures in the chat, the statement, the policy statement, and everything. The last payment I had, my wife, she keeps track of all that, and so on and so forth. And so we took the last of our savings and decided to leave because she didn't have any family left in Iowa, and I didn't have any family left that was alive other than some cousins. And a long time ago, I had some family out here in Idaho. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ruby Ridge. Randy Weaver is a relation of ours. My Aunt Vicky up there in northern Idaho, she was killed, and so was my cousin. So I remember it, when I was small, but it sure has changed a lot from then. And so we spent the last of our savings getting out here and trying to get set up with starting a contracting company. Well, last year, it was the end of last year, we did a ton of houses last year for a company, Chris Wilford and Ron, what? Ron Flack. They're from California. Both of them are from California. They were flipping houses in the Treasure Valley area. And that Chris Wilford asked me to do one for his friend, which was a Vermont Brown out of California. And he gave me this line, his infant son had passed away from cancer or leukemia there, and kind of tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. So we took some of the money. This is the first flip he had done, and Chris asked me to help him out. So we decided we would help him out, trying to get him started on it. And we sunk the rest of our savings into flipping this house down on 52nd Street in Boise, in Garden City there. And the guy, right at the end, he stripped us out of all of our money, and instead of making it right, he said, "I got you on the phone," and left us high and dry again. So we were back to square one. No money, no place to live, no nothing. And we've never done anything to any of these folks other than trying to help them out, and I just don't understand, the whole how people can be that way. I wasn't raised that way, and so on and so forth. And I guess, you got to turn a blind eye to it and turn the other cheek, according to my grandma. But it's getting harder and harder the older I get, because I'm 40 years old now, and starting all over again. We got 2 little kids and a baby on the way, and we're in a broke down 1970s RV that doesn't have any windows or anything in it. And trying to do a contracting company and get back on our feet, and the coronavirus has really killed us. I had 3 months worth of work lined up, and it all backed out on me. So, what month would you say that was? When everybody backed out on me? Yeah, beginning of March. Are you sure? It was right after the trailer, the last flip.
I'm not sure if Mount Clemson, how I got you.
Well, no, because we did the trailer. And that was when I got the phone, that phone, we flipped that trailer. That was March. No, that was March. Yeah, okay, March 5th. Yeah, second week of March is when everybody started backing out. And it's been, fixing a dishwasher here and putting a sink in there, And like yesterday, I went and dug a 6-foot deep hole in a gal's yard out in Middleton, and it was a little plastic PVC pipe. It was a 4-inch PVC pipe that was leaking for her sprinkler system. But they had to shut the whole homeowners association down. And nobody else seemed to have an issue with it. Nobody in the homeowners association. My wife's 41. She's only got 1 kidney. She's pregnant. She's high risk. She had to go to the hospital. And so I didn't get right back out there right away. And I called and told them and everything like that. And the homeowners association was all right with it. But the gal that I was doing it for, she flipped out on me and would only give me $50 for the job. It was a $300 job. Replacing that pipe and everything, and I didn't even make back the money I spent on materials, and I can't put a lien on her or anything like that because she's not planning on selling her house. But everybody in the homeowners association wanted my card instead of the head of the homeowners association. And so the gal tells me, she says, "Well, I'll give you the rest of the money when I know that it doesn't leak and we've got the water back on and the hole is filled in." And that was 2 days ago. I haven't heard, or yesterday, and I haven't heard nothing. I know they turned it back on last night. So, it's just one of the things. It seems like a lot of people like to take advantage of people for some reason out here. And it's just getting harder and harder, like I said, getting harder and harder to make sure that we've got any kind of a roof over our head. for the kids and the wife, especially being she's having another baby. I'm a Marine vet. I did 2 tours over in seas in Iraq. My MLS was intelligence, and it just wasn't enough, I guess. They throw what little scraps they can at you to try and appease you, so that you're not bringing the issue back up. And the whole thing about it is the only help you get when you're out on the street is from the other folks that are out on the street. We traveled from Iowa to Florida, up to Kentucky. We were in Kentucky for 2 months, and everybody that we helped and everybody that helped us were all in the same situation. They're all veterans, homeless, hungry. What little we had, we pulled together and tried to make it. And it wasn't an issue of being addicted to drugs, anything like that caused any of us to be homeless. It wasn't, our lifestyle choices or anything like that. It was just luck of chance for most. I met a fella here, Chris. He's a Marine out of California. We call him Hollywood Marine. Because he come out of Cali there. And he was a real nice guy. His wife was dying of cancer. I think she just passed away, actually. And that's pretty much what bankrupted him, was all her medical issues. And, there was no help for him. She tried to get on Title 19, but he made too much with his pension, apparently, or what he had left. And it was only maybe $300 a week. Well, that doesn't even pay for a place to live nowadays, So, and you're right, it is. They never have a good reason. They never can come up with a solution. And they always try to put the blame back on who's homeless or who's having the issue. Well, they're that way because of this, or they're that way because of this. So they try to give you mental help or, food stamps or something like that. But you can't get food stamps unless you have an address. If you don't have an address, you can't get help that way. We've ran into that issue, We've gone to the food bank. They won't give you food unless you have a piece of mail with an address on it. That's why I do contracting all on my own. I own a company called Renovations Plus, and we do any job we can find. I've even made custom mirror frames for couples and stuff like that because it was quick, easy, $50. I supplied the material, which I got off of Craigslist for free. And things like that. Just to try and make a buck, to make ends meet, to make to make it easier on us. This old freaking camper here, we have done everything we can to get it all hooked up to solar and wind energy. I have taken and made a generator with 2 GM alternators that produces enough energy to run the lights and the television, which we don't have anymore. We actually had to, on the one TV we had off for the boys' birthday, so we could get them something for their birthday, and pay for my wife's gas to get back and forth to her ultrasound. So, I really don't watch too much TV, but I spend most of my time splitting wood and trying to sell cords of wood in the morning. And then from that time on, I go to do estimates. We only have one vehicle that we scrimped and saved to freaking get, and it's about shot. I need to rebuild a motor for it. And it's just, it's just a struggle. Because once you're spending all the money doing that, they require you to have insurance on it, and you can't afford the insurance because you can barely afford to eat. and barely afford to have the vehicle that is a necessity to get around. They don't even include it in the cost of living, I don't think, do they? Yeah, we've literally tried everything. Explained our situation. We've emailed them, called them. We called the Iowa State House, the Iowa Farm Bureau. We contacted them, emailed them. Then we did the same thing with President Trump. And I mean, everybody we could think of. We tried Governor Branstad before he became the ambassador to China. Kim Reynolds. She is too busy. Yeah, she's just way too much time to talk to the communists. Oh my! But after trying all this, I think it's easier for me to just try and do the contracting that we're doing, and because we're actually starting to pick up pace now that people aren't so scared of the virus. The work is starting to pick back up. I just hope that the media can stop the ultimate stress. I know it's a scary thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have died from it, but the numbers aren't correct. We all know that. The coronavirus has been around for how long? A long time. It was originally in horses. This new version of it, the COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, supposed issue is mixing with other health issues and so on and so forth and causing the death. But it's not on a platform like they say it is. I have brothers in arms that drive truck now that were delivering the PPE to New York when Como was freaking out about not having the stuff, so on and so forth. And they got to that Sister Mary, whatever hospital there in New York, my buddy Jake, and they turned them away. He had a full truck full of PPE that they supposedly needed, and they turned them away because they said they had more than they needed. There was nowhere to put it. And that's when they were all freaking out saying they didn't have any. So, I mean, they did. There's a lot of BS out there. But you can't get anybody to listen to it, to the truth, because the media has more pull, it seems like. And me and the wife, we were sitting here talking about it, and we went and gotten tested because they had a thing up here, and we actually had the money, and we were worried, for her sake, because of only having one kidney and so on and so forth, and all the rhetoric they were spreading. We did not test positive for it, but we tested positive for the antibodies. Okay, we were sick clear back, and it was way before it had even gotten to the United States. We had it. That was the only time we were sick, and we had headaches, and our arms hurt, and our backs hurt, and it was like having the flu plus walking pneumonia is how I would explain it. It was hard to breathe. We had to lay on our sides to breathe. We all had temperatures, which we never run a temperature, We hardly ever get sick. And it was like a super flu. That's all it felt like. And it lasted maybe 3 days. And, I mean, it put us down. We were unable to do any work those 3 days, but it was way, way before they even said it was even here. So, it's all on, I guess, how you view it, because they didn't believe us at the doctors. That was the only time we had been sick, so on and so forth. And I said, this antibody test, they said, how do you know it's even correct, or the one that says that we don't have it or have had it, how do you know those are correct? And they couldn't explain it to us. They couldn't explain how the test worked, any of it. So, I don't know, it just seemed like a whole bunch at the wrong time. And to me, it just seems like there was just a far, far, far cry to push Trump out of office and try to make it harder on all of us that are already having a hard time by shutting the economy down, because that's the first thing Biden says is he's going to shut the economy back down. If he does that, it'll kill me. It'll ruin all of our business. We'll be right back on the street. Nothing to eat, no help, no nothing. And I don't know, that doesn't seem correct to me. If the antibodies aren't sticking around for a whole year, which when your body makes an antibody, it protects you for a while. How are we able to get it again if we still have the antibodies to fight it off? That I don't understand. If it's the same strain, yeah, because I've never had a flu shot, and I have not had the flu since I was real little. And I had it so bad when I was little, I had to be hospitalized for it. And that was the one and only time I ever had it. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, you know. The human body is a remarkable thing. It just doesn't make any sense why you would need that mandate unless it was a grasp for more power over, the populace in an already struggling economy that's doing better every day. So, I mean, that's just to kick the economy back and make everybody selfish, in my eyes. Cousin Caleb and my niece, Whitney, were in a car accident, and they both died here 2 months ago. And the story came out in the local Coon Rapids, Iowa paper, and said they had died in the hospital after the accident of the coronavirus. Now, how could they have contracted it in 3 hours and passed away from a car accident? It just doesn't make any sense. So my Aunt Angie's filing a lawsuit against the county for that. She doesn't think anything will come of it, but improperly list them and not allow us to have a funeral for them is a little bit strange. You know, they're not allowing anybody to be buried. They're cremating everyone that dies, no matter what they die of. You can't have a burial at all. If this virus is so bad, why can't you have a burial? We're actually right now. I put an ad out on Craigslist here way back after we were finishing this trailer, and a gal answered me. I was looking for a spot to put a little snorting thing. I asked the gal for a spot to park an RV where we could trade electrical or plumbing work for, a place to stay. No need for electrical hookup or anything like that. I actually have developed a membrane sewer system that actually dissolves my entire family's waste in a 15-gallon tank, and we've never ever had to flush our tank or anything like that. It doesn't stink, and I wish I had the money to patent it, but because it's all biological. It's probably more deadly than COVID virus. But yeah, and all of our electrical it's taken care of with our solar array and our wind power. So we don't pay any electric or anything like that. And I built her a barn and cleaned up 2 of her properties and wired up a bunch of stuff and things like that. And she allows us to stay here. She actually pulled up a section of yard, let me wire up an area for power if we needed it, but we don't need it, so we don't use it. She's got a house in the front that has a family living in it. Then there's our RV, our little RV from 1970, and then she has a 1980s trailer house here with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people renting rooms in it. And then her house, which has her son, and then this fella Greg that rents from her. And the shop's in between the trailer and her house. And then in the back, there's a family that lives in another RV, and next to them is a fellow that lives in an RV. She actually allows a lot of homeless folks to come stay at her property in trade for, whatever they can trade. She doesn't push the issue. She's not like a slave driver or anything like that. But she just tries to keep it fair and whatnot, and she's been real good to us and everybody else. And she had a bunch of rental properties at one time, but she's having issues with the taxes. They have upped her taxes so much that she can't afford to keep the properties. So she's kind of slowly selling them off, and we're fixing them up so that she can sell them off and still afford to do what she's doing in Caldwell, Idaho. Her husband passed away, so now he used to take care of everything, and now she does it. And she's not as good at it as he was, but she's got too big of a heart, and she lets a lot of people stay for free, and so on and so forth, which is, bless her heart. I wish there was more we could do for her. Oh, and they keep trying to come on the property and telling her, that she can't have these people staying here and the campers, and she can't do this and can't do that. It's ridiculous. She's trying to help the situation any way she can, and they're taking her down on it, and it's ridiculous. They come in and tell us that we have to have a permit to stay in our trailer for more than 12 days, and we can't afford that permit, because we're staying in a trailer for one, and doing what work we can, and she doesn't have a source of income either anymore, other than I think she gets maybe Social Security or something like that, but it's not enough, The property taxes are so outrageous that it's just really hard for her. If there's anything we could do for her, I've tried. I try to do every little thing I can. And so does Toby, one of the guys that lives in the back, and a few of the other folks. We're actually going to try and all pool everything together and have a party this weekend for her. Kind of a thank you, because she has really, really helped us all out here the last few months. And she's just an amazing person. She's a heavyset gal. She rides around on a Craftsman lawnmower. It's got a snow blade on the front of it. She dresses up all nice and rides that thing around like, an old cotton marm. Kind of say it. Without being racist about it, But then she's probably the least racist person I've ever met, and she's just a really amazing person. I'd like for everybody to get to know her a little bit if we could. But through State Farm, and it was a combination between them and the insurance agent lacking to do his job, and that King trying to buy our family farm out for years, and they found a way to kind of lock us out of it and get it away from us because we couldn't pay anything on it because the insurance never paid out. Even though we did pay, we paid our payments on time, all the time, every day. Never missed a payment. My grandparents paid it for almost 40 years, and I had paid it for 12 years, almost 12 years when I took over the farm. And I was still in the service and I started taking it over, we had to pay our own way to get home. We were overseas and whatnot when we were going to leave. That takes a considerable chunk of money, which most guys can't afford that. But I saved everything that I made. There was no reason for me to spend it. So I saved it because I knew that when I had enough, I could give my grandparents a nice new farmhouse to stay in, because for most of their lives, the 50 years, they built that farm, that family farm, and spent every dime they had keeping it afloat and keeping it going and making it successful there towards the end. And they never, ever remodeled the house. The 2-story Victorian-style house. And I thought, well, you know, it'd be amazing that I could give them that. And so I did. And I had enough money to keep going and keep the farm afloat. I thought. And then we got flooded. And there was no help. The farm bills had just ended. There were no bailouts at the time because Obama would not declare a state of emergency on it at that time. You know, because it was coming to the end of his term, and so there wasn't enough damage yet to declare a state of emergency. Even when Trump first started in office there, he hadn't declared a state of emergency yet because there wasn't enough damage yet. And then about, I think it was 3 months after he started his term, then he declared a state of emergency because it had gotten really, really bad. And I believe at that time, it was like 43% of Iowa was underwater. You know, it was just a giant swampland. It was amazing. It had never been like that in a long, long time. When we started to flood, it would have been right at the beginning of his term, the last term, his first term. When was that? That was, what? That's it. Oh, let me think here. 16? It was right at the end of 2016. And we tried to keep it and everything. We fought and fought and fought for, the first 2 years of his term, and it just didn't take. Nothing was done about it. We didn't get any insurance or anything like that, and they wouldn't honor us. And I think I spent $5,500 a month there for a while for litigation attorneys to fight State Farm, and nothing ever came of it. The lawyers took my money, and that was that. So I had quite a bit saved up, and from the service and working, you know, and during high school, all the way up through high school, and at one point in time, I owned it was somewhere around 1,100 gumball machines in Iowa. They were everywhere, all over the place. And I slowly sold them off because I couldn't go around and collect the pennies and the nickels. But I should probably do that again. That was good money. Just, you know, I've ventured in several different things, and so far, the last few things have been huge failure. Really pushed us under. It's still the same. Nothing has changed. The old mayor, he did a better job. You know, he tried to make everybody feel welcome and so on and so forth, and he put money towards the issue of trying to solve homelessness. You know, I believe he was a Republican. She's a Democrat, I think. Yeah, and they're trying to push her out of office because she really hasn't done anything. She has made no difference and has done anything. She hasn't passed anything or anything like that. Yeah, she does. She says they're trying to they're trying to slow her down at every angle, but that's not the case at all, really. My wife tried to get a job before we left Iowa. She tried to get a job at the horse track. She loves horses. This woman can tell you anything you need to know about horses. She didn't grow up on a horse farm. She's self-taught. She can tell you the difference between a breed, you know, whatever the stinking horses are called. I know nothing of horses. And I grew up on a horse farm. She did not, but she knows everything there is to know about horses. How many hands high they are. She can tell you how old they are by looking at them, so on and so forth. But she tried to get this job at the horse track in Iowa, and they told her, "We're sorry, we cannot hire you because you have no horse track experience." She said, "Well, how am I supposed to get any horse track experience if I can't get hired at a horse track?" And the guy says, "Well, I don't know." And left it at that. That was her last kind of like hope, She can't do serving anymore because they run her ragged. And like I said, she's only got one kidney. She's gone through cancer twice. She's through chemo twice, I should say. Once when she was little. And it kind of messed things up, being small. She had a Wells tumor. So they took her kidney. And she's a really hard worker. She works really hard. She's constantly helping me do everything there is to do in construction when we do these houses. I've never had, even some guys, you know how it is. We sleep in this old camper that we have. A guy was nice enough. My wife, we'd been trying to purchase one with what little money we had, and we checked, the free sites and everything because I can build and fix anything. It's just I don't know where it comes from, but I can figure out almost anything except how a woman's mind works. It's a 1970 Prowler, and my wife, we'd been trying to get one, and so she puts this ad on Craigslist. And by the way, Craigslist and Facebook are amazing tools. Once you get through all of the people that are extremely mean when you're trying to ask for help. Yeah, we had a registered nurse tell us to die because we were scum-sucking idiots. We were pieces of crap. And all we were doing was trying to get people to send happy birthday cards to our son. That was it, because we don't know anybody out here. We don't have any family. We're just trying to get people, and we said we would pay for them and everything. And they called us moochers, and yeah, her boyfriend was a paramedic here at the hospital in Boise, and she's a registered nurse, and they just treated us like we were garbage and kept flagging our ad. But back to what I was originally talking about, the camper. So she puts this ad on about how it's ridiculous that we're just trying to find a cheap camper, and every time we're about to pick one up, these folks would decide they didn't want to get rid of it or give it to somebody else when we had already, locked it in and supposedly supposed to have it, But that's neither here nor there. That's just a stroke of luck on being able to find one. And this guy read her ad and called me. Actually, he emailed me and he said, can you meet me at this storage facility? I want to show you a camper. And he showed me this camper, and his wife had passed away from cancer. He no longer needed it. He had bought it for her because she was getting older. They were getting older, and she was passing away. He was a service guy. He lived here in Caldwell by himself. And I was thinking, okay, he's going to charge me $1,000 for this thing. This is all the money we have is like $800 that we had saved up. And he turned and looked at me and he said, I'll tell you what, you give me $20 for it and it's yours. And I couldn't hardly believe it. And he said, you give me $20 for it, it's yours. And the only reason I'm doing that is because it's rotten in all four corners, so on and so forth. It's got good tires on it, and I got the title for it and everything else. And so I gave him $20 for it. And we had a friend of ours pick it up and bring it down to one of the houses that we were working on. And this was before we had purchased the truck and fixed it. So we used the rest of the money that we had saved for the camper on getting that truck. That's why I got it out of the junkyard, because it was cheap enough. So things just it all worked out there for a few months. And we got this camper, and I've completely remodeled it, like I said, with materials that I found off of Facebook and Craigslist for free. Before, I don't know if you've been inside the 1970s style campers, you know, with you first get in, and there's the little kitchenette, and the bathroom's off to the left-hand side, and it's that little tiny toilet and tub. And then you've got like a little breakfast nook right there on your right-hand side, and then farther up is like a sitting area. Well, I scrapped all that out. I put a fridge that I had found and fixed in there. So we've got a full-size kitchenette, bunk beds and room for the boys, and then we have our own bedroom, living room area, and then a full-size bathroom in the back. And I've kind of added on to it and done this and done that, and we've made some modifications and everything. Like I said, you know, it has its own sewer system that is self-sustaining. That, like I said, we never have to flush the tanks. We never have to do anything to it. All the lights are solar-powered. All the fixtures are solar-powered. Everything is self-sustained off of, you know, things that I've learned over the years. And knowledge is key. And like I said, I think all knowledge should be free to everyone, and the world would be a better place for it, that's for sure. You wouldn't have student debt or anything like that would, you know, make a lot of people go into the world stressing how they're going to pay for the college that they had when they don't have any experience and can't get a job. Yep, bye-bye.